Hello, everybody. Welcome again to Nothing Like a Good Book. Lovely to have you. As you can see, my guest here is out and about with the fresh air and the birdie, and I'm going to introduce him to you in just a moment. I want to tell you a little bit about him. His name is Tracy Autber. He's a dedicated author, speaker, and advocate for addiction rehabilitation. It's been a theme in the last few episodes, but it's good. It's helping people. A man who's gone through the shadows of addiction and emerged a lot stronger. Tracy shares his story to encourage healing and transformation in others. His goal is to provide actual hope, not just words, to people who are still hurting. And he assists people and families in rediscovering their inner strengths to transform their lives through his writing, live seminars, and counseling support. Here's a stirring statement that no one is beyond redemption, and it's never too late to start over. So the book is called Addict No More, and welcome. Welcome indeed, Tracy.
Thanks for having me. Honor.
Hey, it's a pleasure. It's good to have you, mate. It really is. Addict No More, a real journey through darkness, huh?
Yeah.
From what I understand, it provides unfiltered motivation and hope for individuals fighting addiction, right?
Yeah. I mean, the reality is that all of us are kind of fighting something, whether we want to bring it to the light. In my story, for years, I hid in the shadows, both, myself, my family, the people around me. This idea that I'm all alone or that I'm the only one struggling is just not true. So I wrote the book with the addict or the addict's family and friends in mind, just so they could see that, one, you're not alone, and two, there is hope on the other side of these addictions and behaviors. And I talk about mine being, specific to cocaine and vodka, but in reality, people are fighting addictions like pornography and eating disorders and gambling and money chasing and all of the mores that life have to offer. I wrote on the back of my book. Those mores chased me to some pretty dark places over my 25 years of using. And my rock bottom doesn't necessarily end with bankruptcy, moral, or financial. It's just a place where I looked at myself in the mirror one day and hated who was looking back. And in that moment, I gave up drugs and alcohol, which was January 3rd, 2021. So I've been about almost 5 years, coming up on 5 years clean and sober from something that gripped me, that was ruining my life, whether I wanted to admit it or not.
Well, you're honest about it. In fact, it's an intensely, personal memoir, the book that invites readers on a candid, but it's uplifting exploration of the agony of addiction and the resilience needed to discover the light once more. I think it's courageous and a truthful book, and I think it's essential for anyone dealing with addiction, caring for someone affected by it, perhaps in your family, or seeking hope following hardship and loss. And it is a total count of really your fall into despair. I mean, how did it all come about for you? What got you into it all?
Well, I will tell you that an absolute accident. I ended up not drinking for the first time on the day prior to my sobriety date, January 3rd. By happenstance. There was some incidences. I had a meeting that allowed, I was a day drinker, so I would just get the party started in the morning with a couple of shots and just get going. And I'm a worker, a successful business owner, and a couple lines to kind of get the day motivated, and it just became a regular behavior. And this one day, I ended up not drinking by accident. I read about it in the book that a guy texted me who actually is responsible for introducing me to cocaine in 1996. He texts me about my turf business, if I could sell him a piece of turf. I don't even know that it's him, by the way, Mark, at this point. It comes up on my phone asking me if I'll buy or sell him a piece of turf for his yard. He sends me a picture. I end up with just chatting back and forth. Hey, can I drop it off at your house? It ends up being a small enough piece that I said, hey, I'll just give it to you. It's, kind of a funny story. And what I found out is that another friend who knew that I knew him had reached out to him on the New Year's prior, a couple days prior, and said, this guy has gotten out of control. At this point, I am and not just burning money and time, I'm burning relationships. I had a horrible New Year's, a 3-day bender that got ugly. And on that day, I sat down and had lunch with a guy who, at that moment, I ordered a drink. I ordered, I was a vodka mule, and I knew his drink was a gin and tonic. So I ordered this drink. And in that moment, I actually thought that I was going to just have a drink. And I didn't. He said, hey, don't do this or don't do that. He just said, I didn't want to miss my daughter's wedding. And I actually have a daughter that's getting married in 2 weeks. And those words stuck for me is that he was saying that his life had become chaotic. It had become messy. Everything that he was talking about went back to, he had substances, which are the same substances that are mine, but he had these barriers in his life of really being who he wanted to be. And that was me. Again, it wasn't a financial decision. It wasn't a DUI. It was just, I wasn't showing up in my life. And I ended up not drinking that lunch. A friend of mine I write about it got a DUI that day. We lost a friend. That while I was having lunch, my another group of friends was finding out that we had lost somebody had died on that Monday prior, or on that day prior. And in that moment, my buddy had gotten a DUI while I had some relationships and friends with the police force. They called me and acted like, hey, is there any chance you're sober and can come help out this situation? Just let you know, go. Like, you're not going to believe this. I am. Like, it was mind blowing. Like, to the cop, he was like, "You are? Oh God, I thought probably you'd be a mess," and like I would be. And then I had lunch with this guy, and next thing you know, I'm 1 day sober. And I talk about the very specifics. I'll have the people pick up the book and read about it. It's a great day. But that next morning, this same guy who introduced me to cocaine in 1996, he introduced me to a group of alcoholics and drug addicts on a Monday morning a Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. And for the first time, I was able to say that I'm an addict and an alcoholic. And a bunch of people said, like, welcome home. Like, you're safe. You don't have anything to prove. And, you know, and again, it's literally 1 day that I've now strung together, 1,500 of them or whatever the number is of those days. And every day that I didn't do one behavior, I found out that I could participate more fully in another behavior. I don't drink in the morning makes dinner time 8 hours, 10 hours later, a hell of a lot better with my wife and kid.
Well,
and my life changed.
It's amazing. I believe that, your book, Addict No More, is beyond just a narrative, right? I mean, it's about substance abuse. Yeah, you can tell the way you're talking. You're quite honest about it. It's a tribute to human strength and bravery and the ability to heal. Who is it targeted for, mate? What's the objective?
Well, my target audiences, and I believe that we're most qualified to help the person we used to be. So I'm talking to men, fathers, husbands, and mothers too, of course, women. But I think more like people like me who have something to lose. And that's something we all have to lose is time. The front of my book that you're seeing has a timer on it. And the choice one day for me to not do drugs and alcohol was really a testament to me to start participating in my life. I write in that bottom left-hand corner of the back of the book, and it says, because of the absence of so many toxic behaviors, I now get to play the main character, the author, and the director in the movie of my life. So I want to talk to somebody who just is missing out on being the main character in the movie of their life. And that's not people sitting behind the dumpster of the grocery store on the corner, homeless, dirty. It's guys like me. I look a lot like I did on January 3rd, 2021, facially like this is me. Like, I don't look different. I'm not dirty and homeless. I'm not driving a sucky car. No, I've got good life. But what's happening is that I'm so distracted, so separated from myself that I don't even want to live. Like, I'm just not living. Somebody asked me the other day, all this, talk of, end times, and my book's a lot about like this morality. I start out the chapter on my deathbed, and my book, the chapter 1 is on my deathbed, and that, morality idea. And they said, "Aren't you scared of dying?" I said, "I am absolutely not scared of dying, but I am terrified of not living." And if you say to yourself, what are those distractions in your life? It's not just drugs and alcohol. Like for everybody, this book is meant to be a reflection of continually looking at that. So for me today, it's not drugs and alcohol, but what am I chasing? Am I happy with the last 3 hours of my morning? And if I can say no, I better do something about that. And so I write about picking up behaviors and habits and people in your life that are going to create the version of the life you want. And when you do, you realize that, oh no, now it's chasing women, chasing money, chasing fame. Even now talking to you, Mark, it's my newest kind of revelation is that I'm chasing adoration, probably. I'm writing this book transparent and raw and authentic, but I like it when Mark says, you got a pretty cool book here. I like it when people say, man, that's awesome. You're a great guy, because it fills the void in my life of love. And when you say those words, as an abandoned kid, and I write about this, that I'm an abandoned kid at 6 months old. When I write about that, I know people out there are seeking love and joy and peace and happiness, and they're finding it or thinking they're finding it in a substance, a person, a behavior that no longer really serves them. It's a fake version of themselves. It's a numbed out, shell of a human being. And society has told them to do this, be this. And the reality is they don't want to be that anymore. And my good news for them is you don't have to. If there's something you don't like about your yesterday and you want your tomorrow to be different, do something today.
All right. Now, you've already covered, what inspired you to write the thing in the first place, deeply emotional, and it's a personal story. You draw a lot of it of your own life and your real events, because that's what you talk about. Sure. I can see why you're a speaker. Obviously on stage, boom, you got to go. Your main character's experiences a tremendous amount of trauma. You touched on it, early childhood. What message do you hope then that readers, get to take away about healing and survival? You covered a lot, but I just want to get some questions in with specifics.
Sure. Well, I'm going to tell anybody that hears this podcast that you are not the sum of every bad thing that somebody said about you. I talk about the teacher. I get emotional because I talk about the teacher that told you were going to fail, or a parent that said you were never going to amount to anything. And I can tell you right now, you are bigger, you are stronger, you are better than that. That relationship that's holding you back is not true. And so for any audience is that just know that you're beautiful, that you're loved, that you don't have to be those things anymore. And that's the hope. And that's what we're running from. Trauma is just an event that happens to us. It creates a feeling of doubt, of failure, of shame, of guilt. And all of those behaviors and failures tend to leave us not wanting to feel that. So when I say, hey, I don't want to feel that anymore, there's a pretty good way for me to get rid of it personally. And that way of getting rid of that personally is to numb out. And again, that might be sitting at a slot machine for somebody, or it might be a bowl of ice cream. And pretty soon, both of those behaviors become so normal in our lives that it's no longer about the ice cream. It's about the feeling of safety. Or the slot machine isn't about money. The slot machine is about adrenaline, and I don't have to feel the disappointment in my life. And so
the dynamic between your mother and your son, right, is both heartbreaking and complex. The mother, the son. You talk about this. Why was it important for you to explore this relationship in such depth?
Well, it's important because that's our earliest memory. Our idea of nurture and nature, right? We're a nature-driven people. Like, I got to get mine. I got to survive. I've got to live up to expectation. And as an abandoned kid, and even somebody who struggled being raised, I was raised by my grandparents as a grandchild, not as a son. And the maternal feeling of love is our first encounter. Right. That's our first encounter, is with a mother or father that holds you and loves you and really cares for you. And when we miss that, which I did,
so you were abandoned. You were abandoned.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. I was abandoned by my
grandparents that brought you up. Yes.
Yep. Yep. So when that happens and you don't get a sense of real mother or father, you look for it in other people. And in most cases, as a child or an adolescent, you're getting that in some sort of attachment. Like it's got strings attached, right? So I love you.
Replacement, yes.
Yeah. I love you because you're a good athlete. Like somebody would tell me, I spoke to somebody the other day, like they're like my high school baseball coach. I'm like, really? When's the last time you talked to him? You know, he loved you because you were good, you know, and he liked you. I'm not saying he didn't love you, but that's not agape love. That's not a love that transcends failure, right? And so as a kid that realized, and this is what I realized when I put down drugs and alcohol, I really just wanted to be loved, right? I just wanted to be loved. And so now that could happen in an afternoon. If I give you some drugs or some alcohol, or I pay for your tab because I got money, right? I'm doing pretty good in life, then you'll like me. And if you like me, then I'm having a pretty good day. I have never felt less alone than in a crowd of a bunch of people that want to use me for a free drink or a free meal. And yeah, right. And the people that are living in that sort of like have it self-reflected on where that began for them. Right. They don't understand that these core traumas or relationships have defined all of us. And now, again, we're 30, 40, 50 years down the road. And I think of myself, and I talk to a lot of mothers groups, which is probably my number one group, who all they've been is a mom. Let's say they've got kids, they've raised kids for 20 years, right? They've put them through school, and now they're off and they're graduating, and that's all they've been. And now they don't know how to define their life. And now maybe a scandalous relationship, that feels pretty good. Well, that feels good for a while until he's no different than the other. Yeah. He's just
There's a strong sense of spiritual struggle, apparently, in the book, redemption. How did your own faith or beliefs influence your writing for this then?
Well, when you talk about faith, you talk about some guy in the sky who a lot of people will recognize as God, and I call it God. I call him God, right? But here's what spiritual is for me, is this is not an outside force, God, and you can call it whatever you want, God, Allah, source, universe, and Mother Earth, whatever you want to call it. I have no problem with any of that. What I have a problem with is you expecting this outside external force to come inside. The Bible talks about it. You talk about it in church. Like this outside force comes inside you, and you're spiritually, then you're a spiritual person. No, you're not. You are already a spiritual person, and you have damned that spirit. You have taken the light away from that spirit. It was always inside of you. You are a piece of whatever you call God. You're a part of earth. You were made in the image of God. If you're a church person, you're made in the image of God. Believe that. Walk around with it. But it was already inside you. You did not invite God into your life. He already existed. He already is everywhere all at once, just like energy, just like source. Albert Einstein calls it source, and it's my favorite definition now of the most small, littlest being, like atoms, like down to that level, right? Where you go, wow, it's that little thing. That's what sparked inside of me when I stopped doing drugs and alcohol, because I had put a I'd put these substances on top of my spirit, and I was separated. So now faith for me looks like waking up and living. Like today, one of the last opportunities for me to participate in life. Like today's one of the last days of my life, Mark. This is maybe the last time you and I will ever speak. I don't know that to be the case, and I would love it not to be the case, but that's the reality. And so if I go into this interview and I just check boxes with you and just answer your questions and don't leave a piece of myself with you, failed not only
plenty.
you.
Don't worry about that. Believe me.
Well,
you're a great talker, my friend.
Yeah, thanks.
But we've only got half an hour too, so I really want to get some meat going if I can.
Yeah,
Tracy, you're an excellent speaker. There's no doubt about it, and you can motivate a bloody rock, I think, on sitting on the side of the road. Here's the deal: some scenes in the book are emotionally intense and raw, for that matter. How did you manage, your own emotions writing that stuff? I mean, did you get up, walk around, do a couple of lines, take a drink? What did you do? How did you get through it all?
Well, I think in reality, and obviously I wrote the book in sobriety, but in reality is that I leaned in. I felt for the first time, and I was able to identify that hurts. Like, if somebody says something to you that hurts, I tell them it hurts. I've got a fresh relationship that I'm in, and to be able to say, hey, I don't like it when you say that. It makes me feel a certain way. Or to tell my daughters, I don't think that's quite fair. That's a reasonable adult behavior. What's not a reasonable adult behavior is I don't like what you said to me. So let me numb that. Let me drug that away. Let me drink that away and continue to do that for a long period of time. So the emotional part of not only the book, but life is that we have feelings. We have lots of feelings, most of which are not real. They're not real. They are a reaction to something else that's happened to us. And the reason I say they're not real, Mark, is people have pain, but they don't recognize that all pain is temporary. Pretty soon, you're not going to feel that anymore. And so I can tell you, good, bad, or any emotion you have is going away. So that person that makes you happy and feel a certain way, or again, I say a slot machines of life. I call them slot machines of life because they can be whatever. They kind of, ding, 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 ding. That feels good. Guess what? It's about 10 seconds that adrenaline runs through your body and you feel right. Like, and that's the same as sex. It's the same as any drug.
I mean, houses, farms, they all go through those slot machines. It's unbelievable how people pull away from that. Yeah. Just another version. It's like, exactly. I tell my wife, she's a Bruce Springsteen nut. You know what I mean? So there's an addiction. I tell you right now. Hey, what do you hope young readers, or readers for that matter, who have been through similar situations as you, how do you think they're going to feel if they read this book and they finish it? Where are they going to be? What space are they going to be in?
Well, I hope inspired. I hope it creates a sense of hope. But I also, most importantly, hope it creates a sense of urgency. And if I go back to the last statement I made, which is that today is one of the last days of my life, that's true for all of us. That's true for all of us. And if you don't like where your life is right now, if there's something about your life that you look at and go, you know what, it doesn't need to be part of my life. It no longer serves me. And again, that can be behavior, that can be job, that can be where you're living, that can be a relation, it can be anything. Mark, I want the audience to know you don't have to live like that. Okay. And some people will recognize that as, well, I can't get out of this situation.
Yeah, no, but it's easier to say though, buddy, right?
Well, here's the thing.
This could also turn around and say, yeah, it's all right for you. You found a way to do it. I can't get out of it.
Well, that's what they can get out of the feeling. What do you do there? Well, here's the thing. It's the feeling that doesn't make you feel good. So I don't feel worthy. I don't feel loved. The other side of that, if you don't feel that way, the opposite of that is creation. I don't know if you know that our anxiety and worry and all of the things that we misconstrue in our mind, consternation, okay? Any of those feelings, they're the opposite of creative. So if you're in worry status in your brain, like you're nervous about something, you got problems, right? And a lot of those we self-create. The opposite of that is creative. So I say, cook a meal, paint something. What's going to happen is that feeling you can get rid of. Now, you can't get rid of the fact that you're 3 months behind on your car payment. But I can tell you that no substance is also going to help that. What is going to help that is that you feel powerful tomorrow. You wake up and you go kick some ass in life. Then your car payment will get caught up. But how do I do that? Is I got to want to get out of bed tomorrow. And I want to start creating this life. And so I say, create. And you find people that will create with you. And again, I'm saying something as simple as coloring or having a meal or making some artwork. That's what started for me, is I started realizing that when these things weren't happening in my life, that I wasn't creating, I wasn't living, I wasn't doing things that made me feel good, either about myself or about the people that I was around. And so if that's the case, then I start realizing, wait a minute, I'm just living a life that you, wife, you kids, you coworkers, that's the life you want for me. It's not the life I want for myself. And so if I start doing things that create the life I want for myself, it's much easier. And it's these little changes, Mark. It's not massive.
A bit at a time. Add them all up a little bit at a time. Go to the total opposite. A lot of it, Tracy, surely a lot of it is loneliness. Feeling alone. No one who can really listen to you and where you can put your head on their shoulder. You must have felt that as well. Once you can get with other people, that's why it pays to go to some groups and have around you. Look, what's next for you as an author? I mean, are there more stories in the works? You see your book you see this as a standalone journey, or are you going to do other stuff?
Yeah, I have several more books in me that probably go back to the precursor of this book. So Addict No More is written from the stance of the day that I stopped drinking until, I'm going to say today, or somewhere where I can say Addict No More. And the reason I can say Addict No More, Mark, is you could not pay me. There's no dollar amount. There's no value in drinking or drugging in my life ever again. It has
not even a drop.
No, if you set it right here on the table right now, Mark, and I'm telling you, I'll go to a bar today and I'll be with people that are getting absolutely drunk and hammered and have no problem. And like, do you want one? And no, because I don't want to miss out on tonight's movie, tonight's fire, right? Those sorts of things where I go, if I drink, I disconnect. Now, I don't want to disconnect from life in any fashion, right?
No, so fair enough.
If you tell me that like what's next is something amazing and I don't even know what it is, sure, there's another book and I'll be speaking in a city near you and near your audience of a lot because my book is catching fire with the people that are going, yeah, I've got some obstacles. I've got some barriers in my life that I didn't even recognize. Part of my book is recognition, is like, wait a minute. He's not talking about just drugs and alcohol. He's talking about how I feel about myself and why I think this about me or why I let that bother me. And the reality is that you get to create that every day. What you want today to look like. If you want it to be just like, hey, I wasted, whatever. I got buddy. I just went through this with somebody. He says to me, yeah, Tracy, I'm not as bad as you. I read your book. I'm not as bad as you. I wasn't drinking every day. I wasn't drugging all the time. He's like, all I do is I drink on, Friday afternoon after work, and I will get after it on Saturdays. But come Sunday evening, I put the pony back in the barn and I'm fine. I'm going to show up to work on Monday. And he's a good worker. He's a great dude. And so I said, hey, man, so you're telling me you only drink on Friday nights and Saturday and Sunday if it's football season, you have a few beers with the guy, that's all you drink. And he's like, yeah. So I'm like, you will really only drink, a couple days a week? And he's like, yeah. And I said, that's insane. That's like only 8 days a month. That's nothing. And I go, well, that's weird. It's only 48 days a year. So you're telling me at the end of this that you're gifting 10 to 15% of your life to drugs and alcohol. And he freaking died, like in his mind. Like I said, you gave that time. And the word wasted, Mark, it means time. We say that. And I got wasted a couple nights ago, right?
Well, not only that, Tracy, we're talking about drunk drivers, deaths, despair for families with children, just got married, killed in accidents. I mean, alcohol and drugs do so much more damage.
Oh, sure.
So many people, you know what I mean? Listen, this book, I've been running the Your Direct, TracyAutber.com. It can be bought directly off that site?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. There's a buy it now page, and we've given some discounts for volumes of centers or of clinics. This is a book written from the person who's sitting in that chair for the first time and saying, yeah, no doctor understands this. Nobody gets it. This guy right here in this pink shirt, I don't know how good it comes across, but this pink shirt can look you right in the face and tell you, I get it. I know why you did what you did. I understand why you're using. And if you want to stop behaving in that manner, you can. So the centers can absolutely buy it. I give them a nice price break, and they can certainly get in and get the book and get it to people. Buy a couple copies and get it to people that may not be in the grip of addiction in their mind, but they're missing out on their life, or they're in some behaviors that aren't healthy for them. It doesn't matter what it might be. This book is for everyone who's struggled with identifying what they want their life to look like.
Tracy Autber, dedicated author, speaker, an advocate, big advocate for addiction rehabilitation. Why don't you add preacher to that? You'd be a brilliant preacher. You know that?
What's that?
You really would. You would be a brilliant preacher.
Do you know, Mark, that I was leading a men's ministry. I talk about God in one of the chapters called Oh No, Not God. I was leading a men's ministry at a church. And on Sunday morning, it was on Tuesday nights. Mark, It was the fastest growing, and I'm talking in the grip of my addiction. It's the fastest growing ministry, our pastor said, maybe in the country. Okay. Wow. So that's hitting my love button. Like, you're successful. You're a good guy.
See,
I was preaching on Tuesday nights and being drunk all day, do a couple lines, and you get me in front of a microphone, I am going to light this room on fire. I still have guys going, I didn't even know you were high. And the pastor standing up on Sunday morning telling everybody to come to this church because this good guy, and meanwhile, my wife's looking at me like, you're a piece of crap, right?
Yeah, right, right.
What an idiot. And here I am, like, again, thriving. So it's funny that you say that, because I got a preacher or a salesman by nature in my DNA. And today, I am selling life. I am selling moments, minutes, nice. All of that.
Good. Yeah. Life is precious. At the end of the day, the underlying story for your book and everything is this: time is precious. And why give up that time into ridiculous behavior? You know? But let's hope, well, you're doing great work, and let's hope, Amazon, of course, guys,
Barnes and Noble.
Very good. Yeah. Barnes and Noble. And, but you can order directly with Tracy on this particular site here, tracyautber.com. Very interesting, mate. You've motivated me. I'm raring to go now,
Yeah, that's what I want. I want you to get up.
I'll edit them out. We had a couple of stalls there with considering we did it on the phone, you're a busy man, I understand. And it froze a couple of times. So we'll try and edit those out.
Nah, no problem.
And
I think the gist of it will come through, and I'm happy that you spent the time with me. I'm going to have you, Mark, and anybody else that hears this, go attack today. Go treat the rest of your day like it is. You're alive, you're full, and you're generating love and operate in that frequency.
Well, the old saying, the old Latin, from what I can remember, per diem.
Carpe diem.
Carpe diem, seize the day, my friend. Lovely speaking with you.
Absolutely.
Stay online so it downloads, please. Don't nick off. Just hang around for a second, will you?
You got it.
I'd appreciate that, even so. All right. Tracy, lovely meeting you. Thank you so much for your time. Good luck with the book, all right?
Thanks, mate.
You got it. What a lovely fellow. What a lovely fellow. Will this one work? No, not that one. It's this one here. I got to talk to my guy. Something's going on. Hey, what a motivator, huh? Woo! Tracy Autber, and a lovely fellow, an author. And look, what else is he? A dedicated author and a speaker, and if you can hire him, speaker, advocate for addiction. This will be on the Mark Bishop website, markbishopmedia.com. It'll be on YouTube. It'll be on LinkedIn, God knows where. It'll go everywhere, right? So there's plenty of room. There's a lot of value in what he's talking about. It just seems to be attracting this week. Joe Weaver's got a fabulous book out called Last Call. You've got Tracy here with Addict No More, his journey through darkness. Dear oh dear. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you got something from it. And don't forget, nothing like a good book is dedicated to authors. It's dedicated to authors who are just starting, experienced authors that have been around. The idea is to try and help you move more books and help you get out there with your message. And that's what we're here to do. So by all means, if you want to get on the show and you've got nobody, representing you per se, because I don't want to stand on any toes or anything, just contact me directly. mark@markbishopmedia.com, and we'll chat. Okay. So in the meantime, thank you for joining. Please subscribe to the show, help it along. I really want to build this thing up so we can help more people. Okay. That's the bottom line. Appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you soon.